Hi, I'm Mark, poet with guitar from Washington, D.C., and welcome to the Poets Reacts, when myself, a poet, and three of my fellow poets react to a poem and have a discussion about poetry and how this poem fits into our aesthetic of poetry and what we feel about poetry. And with that, I'll introduce Marrisa.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Poets Reacts. We're so honored and blessed to be here with you tonight. Make sure, please, that you use the chat. If you have questions, comments, you just want to get in touch with us, we love reading what you write to us. So please use the chat tonight. Lawin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lawin from Manila. I'm a writer with bad habits, but hopefully good opinions. If you do have to subscribe to our YouTube thing so we can keep on doing this. Please do like the rest of our social assets because we need to keep people in work working, right? Thanks for being here. Kemlyn, hello.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kemlyn. I'm your Arizona-Singapor connection. I'm a multimedia artist, and I'm so excited about our poem today. So, without further ado, send in the poem.
So this was my turn to read, so I'm going to read the poem. Haven't they moved like rivers, like glory, like light, over the 7 days of your body? And wasn't that good? Them at your hips. Isn't this what God felt when he pressed together the first beloved? Everything. Fever, vapor, Atman, pulses. Finally, a sin worth hurting for. Finally, a sweet, you are mine. It is hard not to have faith in this. From the blue-brown clay of night, these two potters crushed and smoothed you into being, grind then curve, built your form up. Atlas of bone, fields of muscle, one breast a fig tree, the other nightingale, both morning and evening. Oh, the beautiful making of trigger and carve, suffering and stars. And aren't they, where's it's a new page, aren't they too the dark carpenters of your small church? Have they not burned on the altar of your belly, eaten the bread of your thighs, broke you to wine, to ichor, to nectarous feast? Haven't they riveted your wrists? Haven't they had you at your knees? And when these hands touched your throat, showed you how to take the apple and the rib, and how to slip a thumb into your mouth and taste it all. Didn't you sing out their 99 names? Zephyr, Aleph, Hand Time 7, Sphinx, Leonidas, Locomotura, Rubitium, August, and September. And when you cried out, "Oh, Prometheans," did they bring fire? These hands, if not gods, then why, when you have come to me and I have returned you to that from which you came, bright mud, mineral salt, why then do you whisper, "Oh, my Heconchire, my Centimani, my 100-handed one"?
I want a man to devour me like that.
Wow.
Yes, please.
Love that.
That was amazing, Mark. You need to make sure your wife watches the show later.
I was kind of felt like I for a while I felt like I was reading Horace.
Are you hungry right now?
No. I felt like for a second I was reading you ever read like the old Roman poets like Horace, or it was my favorite, Horace or Tibelius. I mean, it had that kind of stance of the Roman poems. An atlas of bones, fields of muscle, one breast, but it couldn't have been written then because there's too many images. There's too many images that are not at all antique from antiquity. The churches, there's just too many of them.
Carpenter. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful poem.
Very,
Knees and
very
throw.
unique.
It was very sexy. It
Oh.
was super sexy.
I think it's easily one of the best pieces we've taken up on the show. So
Yes. Yes.
I think it's 19th century. I don't.
It could be.
Feels very 19th century, but it's blank in 19th century, and there was a lot of blank verse written in 19th century.
I say 20th.
Uh-huh.
I say 20th.
Well, they do reference mud and mineral salts, and those are things that are earlier 20th century. Maybe it could be before, but I don't. The hectoconsure, I'm not sure if that's like I know a hectare is a measurement of space, and that's, so if you were plotting out land or a homestead, you would use that kind of terminology. But yeah, I love this. I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. No, I love the
bread
indulgence.
and butter my thighs.
No, I love how the references are used indulgently rather than in a sterile academic manner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes you have writers who do the research, and that's great, but they can't elevate the research into poetry. So this does that with such elan. Yeah. So all props. Oh, there it is.
Wow.
Oh, yes, Kemlyn. And the fig tree and the nipple. Yes. I love it. Yes, and yes. Oh, that is very beautiful.
That for me was a very sensual poem, and you cannot avoid it. But to make all these Greek allusions can become very sterile. But these were beautifully woven together so that the response is so sensual, and it's so it couldn't keep me in the academic and the structure. So I had to draw the nude body.
Well, I think a poem has to. I mean, a poem is not a crossword puzzle or or anything like that. And so there's so much here that I would have to look up. There's so many names and things, and who are seeing out the 99 names? Who are the 99 names? There's so many little distractions in here that take me a little bit out of the poem, because I really was sensing the physicality of that sculpturing and the making of the statue. I think that was the strongest image that I got out of this poem. Was that.
But I do think the distractions are delightful, if distractions at all. And if you guys were, caught by thighs or by
Hips.
99 names or hips, myself, it was the way it rounds out all the way into my 100-handed one. That's how good these hands are. All right, and no, those are rare hands. So
timeless
again,
hands.
And again, there is such a thing as fast food poetry, things you can consume in a single sitting. I like this in the sense that you can come back to it. You can open up your Google, you can go into your history books, you can, what the hell is a Hecatoshire or whatever, right? I mean, how do you pronounce Worcestershire sauce anyway? But there's so much to go back and forth with, and I think that's rewarding. So I love it for that.
Yeah,
I love the luscious allusions to the feminine form, the Sappho, the slightly homoerotic, lovey, and the ripeness of the fruit, the figs hanging on a tree, and the female form, just so glorious, absolutely glorious.
All these Prometheans and all these characters, of course, in the 19th century. There was everybody knew all the allegories, all the stories, all of that stuff. So when you go to a show and you see all these Rubens paintings and all of that, and it's some little text from Aeneas or from the Iliad or something like that, and everybody seems to know them. and they relate to them on a very physical level. Like it's not like us; it's on an intellectual level, trying to understand where they're coming from. But for them, it was a very real thing. I mean, the way we see our superheroes, in today's culture, right? They see these characters out of these mythologies. So I mean, whether it was done in a period of romanticism in that particular period in the mid 19th century, that's what I felt this poem was written for that audience and for that group.
My favorite line of this entire poem is, "Finally, a sin worth hurting for." I was like, damn, that's got to be a good time, because a sin worth hurting for. I love that. Not that we're pro-sinning. Okay, we're not pro-sinning. That's not what we're saying. We're just pro-hurting for the best sin. No, I'm just kidding. But I think, the line is really great. And, the way it goes on and on and on. I did not get bored listening to it. I could listen to it again. I think, Lawin, you should read this. Kemlyn, you should read this. I think you're going to get a different poem with the different people who are reading this. But if you're reading it to yourself out there, we're interested, curious. What do you think when you read it? If you read it out loud to yourself, what's your take on it? What's your favorite part of it? Did you get bored? Did you like it? Certainly he's devouring this person. And I say he because I'm pretty darn sure a man wrote this. And I'm pretty darn sure you wrote it about a woman. On
the altar of your belly, eating the bread of your thighs. You to
oh, I know. I'm going to go get some butter and jelly after this and just start doing a body scrub.
who was the poet?
I'm a little surprised that Mark didn't call out the Christian references.
I'm surprised he had kept a straight face and didn't turn red.
No, because it's also just as there's all the Greek stuff in it and Roman stuff, there's a lot of Christianity embedded into this. I mean, even the whole concept of a sin worth hurting for.
Do you feel like the poet is almost at odds with his belief system, that he's making it okay because he's giving acknowledgement to God in the writing, and therefore he's sinning, but he's acknowledging that, and therefore he might be forgiven for it? I mean, there might be a little inner conflict going on there with the way he feels versus the way he's told he should feel, or the belief systems that are inherently structured in this person's life.
Marrisa, I beg to differ. As a person with a theological degree, I think it's a celebration. I think he's intentionally weaving the apple and the altar and the communion bread. I think he's pushing it and having a lot of fun with it.
Mostly sexuality, being sexual and expressing your sexuality, your sexualness, your desires, those things inherently in the past have not been something that has been easily accepted upon in different religious backgrounds and in different, you know what I'm saying? And so you can celebrate God, but generally that happens after you marry someone or after you have chosen to be with one person your whole life. And so that celebration is typically not something that's made public either.
All right, I think it's time to reveal.
Yes, who is it?
These Hands, If Not Gods by Natalie Diaz. She's a 2021 Pulitzer Prize laureate, and it's after Your Body is a Wonderland by John Mayer.
No,
Lawin's making a joke.
It's another
Lawin's
version.
making a joke. It is not John Mayer. Okay, you guys.
It's après.
Huh. Well.
Yes, Lawin was making a funny, and for those of you watching, Lawin was making a joke.
John Mayer. John Mayer is a folk singer, isn't he? I don't know what different.
Yeah, he's a pop. And he's not even pop. He's indie. He's not even indie. I don't know. He's a vocalist. He's a singer, songwriter.
Yeah, from the 60s and
He's my
70s.
age,
John Mayer.
yeah.
I think it's the same John Mayer.
Yes.
So she an archaic version of Your Body is a Wonderland.
Have you never heard that song?
I don't recall. No.
Okay. Well, so then that you would get the joke.
I owe you one. Yeah, that one. Yeah, sure.
The poet is Natalie Diaz.
Yeah.
And her poem is titled "These Hands, If Not by God's."
Yeah. Huh.
Thank you, Natalie Diaz. That was a fabulous,
beautiful
read.
poem.
Yeah, what a lovely, lovely text.
She's the 2021 Pulitzer Prize Poet Laureate.
Wow. No. Well, that's an honor too. That's an honor which gets us to one person a year. So
Yes.
You know,
yes. So thank you, Natalie, so much for that. And yeah, I look forward to rereading this.
Well, yeah, me too. I'll have to. Yeah, like that's.
You should go read it to your wife, Mark.
when a poem keeps you on the page, it's worth. Yeah, sure.
Yes,
it's good.
yes.
Well, hopefully we'll get some comments of others from others who will have some similar or differing views about the poem. I'd love to hear it.
All right. And we are ticking down to that time, y'all. So I do want to thank you so much, everyone, for being here and commenting. Thank you for watching. Remember, like, share, and subscribe to the Poetry Global Network. And come to our show, The Poets Reacts, where who knows what's going to happen next. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the next poem that we read. So remember, as we're reacting to poems live right here with you, we hope you take action with your pen so that maybe someday we'll be reading your pen. Goodbye, everybody.
Or poem.